Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
Good morning, Hans.
Morning, Mark.
Good to see you. Um, Yesterday, you laid out the 5 stocks you really like because of AI, this new AI revolution. Um, and today, you're here to carry that conversation forward. I'm just here to kind of listen and learn, and I'm going to be watching, questions coming from the audience, from our traders, and when the timing is right, I'll pop in and ask a couple questions here and there. But I'm here to listen and learn because what you shared last night, around the coming breakout, with your breakout ratio in MTI and these 5 stocks that are going to explode, really valuable. And I want to take the opportunity to revisit. So with that, I'm gonna just fly on the wall here and listen in while we let you discuss these 5 names.
Well, look, Mark, thank you for the intro and morning, everybody. So another kind of crazy week, right? The S&P sort of pushing up, very persistent. We had a little flinch earlier in the week. But the way I see it, there's sort of this bid to the market. It has to do with a number of things, but one of them is this excitement about AI. It's a little bit out there in front. I'm sure AI is nothing new to folks. But I think it's providing this sort of level of excitement underneath the hood that is lending a bid to this market, and that's what's kind of helping to fuel the upside, and also helping to kind of shrug off some of these other issues with tariffs and things like that. People are looking to the future, right? Tariffs, at some point, we're going to sort that out. It's either going to get better, it might get worse, but the market, after having done this for 3 decades, the market has this ability to accept and absorb bad news. It's incredible. Over the years, I've seen it so many times. It's something shocking, and then it either goes away or the market goes, okay, the world hasn't ended and we're going to continue forward. So the market is starting to look towards that back half of the year, which we are in now, where we start to look at the things that President Trump has, the positive things, the regulatory, the tax, and then, of course, this thing that we're talking about, which was, and we did an incredible show last night, really laid out this next phase of AI. So everyone kind of thinks it's about, the sort of, I think they're living in the past a little bit. They think it's kind of like this fancy chatbot. And it's really much, much more than that. We are moving from one big phase, which was, quite frankly, all about the NVIDIAs and a few other stocks that are building the infrastructure for AI. And that's incredibly important, and that's going to continue. But this next phase is about how AI starts to provide what we call utility, which is just usefulness, right? How does AI start to help us? And this is the aha moment for many companies, for many individuals, us on a personal level, where it's starting to help us organize our lives, and find insight that is valuable to us, productivity gains. So I think we're embarking on this sort of incredible next several years of how does this start to work its way into profit margins, which is good for the market, and into sales and revenue and profits. We've already talked about earlier in the week. We talked about Goldman Sachs. They're going to start saving boatloads of money on their processes. IPOs, 95% of that process, AI can do it now. What does that mean? That means people and companies that figure this out are going to reap the rewards. And as they reap the rewards, that means a heck of a lot of money made by the companies that are driving this movement. So there are going to be companies that are primarily building the infrastructure, that are helping to organize the incredible amount of data that we've created. So in a few years, we're going to create more data than we've created in the history of mankind and womankind.
Just
right?
kind of reminds me of, am I wrong if I say this reminds me of like the building of the United States interstate system, where maybe NVIDIA is the highways, right? We still need to maintain those highways. Work needs to be done, but the bulk of that building, and we're going to expand highways, right? They're always adding more interstates. But now we're in the phase where you've got the roadside gas stations, the roadside diners, the tourist attractions, all the pieces. Like that's what I'm hearing you
Right.
describe to me. Am I right in that in that respect?
100%. And this is one of the things we talked maybe even 4 months ago. They were counting out the big caps and saying, "Well, look, how is anybody going to make money with this? Google spending 75 billion, everyone else spending 100 billion, 125 billion, hundreds of billions of dollars. Is that for a fancy chatbot? No, it isn't. We're starting to see the realization of what this is going to mean." And this is going to work its way into everything. So with the internet, that was an incredible innovation. We logged in on our phone, our web, our browser, our computer, and we gained this incredible tool to find information and to make our lives easier in many ways. This is not about logging into something. This is about the world constantly being logged in and data being scraped and used and crunched. And the companies and we went over 5 of them last night, the companies that are at the forefront of that are going to do well. And that doesn't mean everyone's going to do well. That's an important thing. We gave away a number of companies that I feel are not going to do well. So let me give you one of them right now. Fiverr. I've been talking about this for a month to 6 weeks, I think it is. And since I mentioned that, it's down 10%.
What's the stock symbol on Fiverr?
FVRR.
FVRR.
So there's going to be an incredible amount of disruption. We can see it with Google, what's going to happen to search. We can see it with Visa. These incredible moats, right? You know what a moat is? It's like that moat around a castle. You want to put crocodiles in it. You want to put sharks in it. You want to put piranha in there. You want to make it so bloody difficult for people to cross it that your business is bulletproof. That is a moat. What just happened to Google's moat with search? I mean, they have other great sides of their business. What just happened with Visa with stablecoins? They're saying that could disrupt them. Now, does that mean Visa disappears? No. But does it mean their fat profit margins are going to be under pressure? Could very well be. And everybody says, oh, no, they're going to figure out stablecoin. They might. But are they going to be under incredible pressure with competition that drives down profit margins, right? So this isn't necessarily about survival. It's about what markets care about, which is profits, revenue, increasing revenue. So there are going to be many potholes in this journey. And Fiverr, I mean, look at what Fiverr does. It's a freelancer site, doing copy, doing sort of writing copy, doing images, doing all this stuff. People pay $50, $70 for somebody to do something that they can now do with ChatGPT. So since I said sell that and buy NVIDIA, NVIDIA's up 29% and Fiverr's down 10%. There is opportunity in both directions.
I'm looking at the chart of Fiverr right now. If you want to show my screen, Justin. And on July 1st, it closed 29.70. That was about when you said, "Hey, this is you probably don't want to own this stock." Yeah, it's down from 29.70 to 25.62. So that's a good 15% in a matter of a couple of days. NVIDIA, exact opposite trend, right? It continues to just be an absolute monster because, to the point, as you said, we're at the usage stage, but we're still building out those roads. And NVIDIA is definitely reaping those rewards.
That's a perfect example, Mark, of the disruptor and the disrupted. And so it's going to be a very, very interesting market. You want to be on the right side of things, and you want the trades that are going to make you the most money. And we talked about that last night. You don't want to make 20%. You're not going to be happy about that in 2 years when you said, oh, I made 20% on this stock that I could have made 300% on. This is going to be spectacular. So, Mark, do you have the chart? Do you have the indicator that we talked about last night? Which, the timing is incredible because this is urgent. This is starting to be urgent.
I do. And here we go. Give me a second here.
So this is an indicator that I've devised that really gives me the pulse of what's going on from an excitement standpoint. And of course, anybody who watches our shows and is part of our programs knows that when we talk about volatility, what is that? That's excitement. That's sentiment. That's telling you something. right? You want to understand things change over time, but what doesn't change is excitement, fear, greed, everything in between. So we're always trying to measure excitement. So what are we trying to do with this indicator? We're trying to measure how much excitement is going into this. And this isn't my first rodeo. I was involved in it. 95 to 2001 was a phenomenal trading period. 2021 was a phenomenal trading period. We are going into a phenomenal trading period as this indicator, as this comes to fruition here, as we move to this new area and we get this new picture, right? It's a new picture. We talk about volatility regimes and are we in this, where's the VIX zone? This is going to be a new picture, and it's going to represent incredible potential for us in the right names.
And now, just so everyone here understands what Hans is talking about, this is his breakout ratio. And Hans, stop me if I'm telling tales outside of school. The breakout ratio is kind of, to put it back to my analogy, the breakout ratio basically is how are the roadside businesses doing relative to those that build the road. And when we see the diners, the gas stations, the hotels outperforming the construction company that's laying the blacktop, that is when your breakout ratio is going up. Am I right in that respect?
Exactly. That is giving you an indication that there is a level of excitement for a theme, which I think is directly tied to reality. This isn't just fluff. This is tied into what we're talking about in inference. People have this completely wrong. Many people. They think it's just we're going to continue on as we have been with incremental improvements from technology. This is going to completely change the world. So what this is showing you is that willingness of big money to start to get into the exciting part. And let me tell you, when this indicator plays out the way it's going to, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and it's starting now. It's absolutely starting. So what that means is that institutional money, big money, is going to start coming into more areas of AI and the related technologies. What happens when institutional money comes in? It's not just a play thing for retail and folks to flip around. It becomes something real. Institutional money means analysts start covering it. And then that means the advisors who know pretty much nothing, most of them, some good ones, but a lot of them just pick up the analysis from their analysts and go, oh, that's a good stock. That ends up on their desk, and they say, client, you better buy these stocks. And then they go up, and then this sort of positive cycle begins. The stock does well. The analysts go, oh, better raise our prices. Gets back on the desk. They tell their clients to buy more. More big money moves into it. It becomes a sort of fortuitous cycle of pushing these stocks up,
and it
up
creates,
and up we go.
And as you said, it creates clear winners and losers. You just shared with us one of your losers with this Fiverr. The one that I thought was really interesting on your losers list, and then I want to talk about winners, if you're okay with that, because a lot of people view CRM as an AI company, right? They're delivering information, and this is a huge company, right?
Absolutely.
CRM is worth $250 billion, and you believe, and I've heard your argument. You're right. You believe that there is a coming storm for Salesforce.
100%. I mean, look, this is the challenge for the world out there, and I'm telling you that boardrooms full of high-level executives are going to be in panic mode. If they aren't, or if they are already in panic mode, they're the smart ones. But increasingly, we're going to see this sort of panic playing out. What the heck are we going to do? We have tools out there. I saw an app the other day. You basically just tell it, build me a website, connect it to a payment processor. Boom! In a few hours, you've got a new business online delivering value. What does that do to some companies that do that for a living? So this is a level of disruption that is going to be almost mind-boggling. And so you really want to be careful, because it's not to say that CRM doesn't sort it out, but it's to say that a lot of what they do is going to be handled by AI in more or less a push a button kind of way. I'm not saying it covers everything. I know it's a very complicated process, but there is pressure. And so we have to understand where the low-hanging fruit is. And for me, it's very much in the picks and shovels. It's those companies that are really building what is required in the mania. Because as CRM, as these other companies say, my goodness, we better get on board. I don't care. They are increasing budgets towards becoming a part of this. Well, who benefits from that? The data crunchers, the data sorters, the insight creators, the hardware makers, Saudis building data centers, all the data center proliferation around the world. That does not slow down. We need more places to keep data and to crunch that data. So
Yeah.
these are the areas that I've pushed into, and we gave folks the 5 stocks that I think are absolutely key to that theme, as opposed to saying, oh, well, CRM is going to figure out AI and they're going to make it work for them. You don't know that. I do know that we need a company like Broadcom, because it is the nerves and spine of data centers. No Broadcom, no data centers. Is that positive for Broadcom? You betcha. So you really want to be careful. And in Turbo Income, we are doing more turbo trades than we have ever. And we haven't lost on one, by the way. So
So I want to talk about these turbo trades here in a second, because I'm sure people are wondering. But I'm thinking about Broadcom, and I'm with you. There is a ton of opportunity here. It's been so strong, but is still, I don't believe fully valued. Would you liken it to maybe the off ramp on the highway to those businesses? From that the highway that NVIDIA built, Broadcom is the way you exit that thing to get to where the data needs to go.
Exactly. You've got to get to where you need to go. You've got to find these companies that are going to deliver value in a mania, in a panic to get involved in this process.
Yeah,
And
Robin says this: my contacts at Citibank are indicating everyone in the company has to demonstrate usage of Microsoft Copilot and how they do their job and drive efficiency. Other bank contacts are telling me similar stories. I can confirm that. We actually have weekly AI homework here at Option Pit. Hans will tell you that our CTO Jason, every Monday, he says, guys, here's your AI homework assignment this week. My brother happens to run a very large company, and he does the same thing. And he actually monitors whether his I love my brother, but he is intense. He actually monitors whether his executives are actually doing it, and what their outputs are. And the people that don't move up and are not in his good graces. So I see what you're saying. It's kind of taking over everything.
you're either on board or you're not, right, Mark? You're either on board or they're going to show you the exit, right? So this is what's happening. And what are the companies that are going to come in? Because think of like a telecom company. Think of these massive conglomerates, these companies with so many silos of data and information, and there's so much overlap. There are companies that are going to come in, and it's like putting an intelligence helmet on that company, and they're going to crunch it and figure out, where can I save money? Who can I get rid of? Unfortunately, where are we going to find efficiencies? How can we improve our logistics process? Right? Are we wasting money? Are we sending trucks around that are empty half the time? How do we improve that? There is going to be this incredible sequence of incremental gains, and that's going to gain momentum over time. So this is going to benefit companies, and the companies that help them do that are sitting on gold mines. And those are the ones we are really focusing on, and are going to focus on increasingly over the next few weeks as
And I
this
want to
indicator.
And I think everybody wants, wants to hear your take on these different names. And folks, Hans and I would both love if you've got. Do you guys have any ideas on what you believe are going to be AI winners and AI losers? I know we both love to hear your guys' opinions on that. Hans, obviously, he sits here and stares at the market. He's got some very driven plans on how he wants to approach this. But everybody has their own ideas, and Hans is actually about to kind of explain to you how you can use your ideas and his systems to create your own trade. But now what we're looking at is your turbo trades. And turbo trades are essentially an offshoot of an income trade where essentially you're buying medium term calls based on your MTI, and that is allowing you to get some of these huge gains. You did 145% in RCAT, 255% in NVIDIA, 128% in SPY, just to name a few. They've been about 30% of your trades. And now when I'm looking at your portfolio, look at the amount of turbo trades you have in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, it's about 60% of all your trades.
Yeah, look, there's a time to be more conservative, and the sort of traditional income trade fits the bill. It's terrific. We've been making 15, 23, 28% on trades like that. But there's also a time to be strategically greedy. And I call it greed, but it's about doing something intelligently, right? Some people, I mean, traders out there, have you gotten caught being greedy? I mean, we all have at one point or another. Does it happen too much? You get greedy and, you end up with pie in your face. There is a strategic way to play greed. Might just call it aggression. And the turbo is strategic aggression. It's where we take one trade and absolutely turbocharge the upside so that we can make 150%, 200%, even up to 300%. That is how it works. It's about saying, sometimes I'm happy to make a couple bucks, but sometimes I want to make 20 on that option. And it's as simple as that. And you need to be playing both sides. You need to have that sensibility that sometimes you've got to let the market get you in. This indicator, the MTI, is going to get you in. It's going to keep you in. That's one of the hardest things, right? You've got a winner. You can't wait to sell it. You're like, man, I'm up money. What if I don't sell it? I could give it away. The MTI keeps you in that trade. That is, quite honestly, we don't talk about that enough. That is the perhaps greatest part of that indicator.
Oh, I mean, I just ran into, I have that problem myself. I sold Shopify calls $8 too early. And after the fact, and I watched it, I go, oh, I didn't check MTI before I sold these. So this is Apple, folks, and MTI stands for Hans's market temperature indicator. It's Hans's kind of secret sauce to enter trades and exit trades. And Hans, in Apple, we point out here that the MTI is these red bars, these yellow bars, and the green bars. What do these three colors mean?
So red means the stock is bearish, perhaps. There are sellers are in control. You want to maybe sit on your hands, which, by the way, is a fantastic position that many retail traders don't understand. Sitting on your hands is one of my favorite positions. That's how we have a 93% win rate, is because I know when to sit on my hands. So, but you get, every now and then, you're going to remove those hands and start getting ready. And that's what's happening here. You've got the reds, stay out of trouble. Then you move to a yellow. You've got the direction of the MTI indicator. That is important. Then you get into a stronger yellow. Then you get into a 4 green. Then you get into a 5 green. And that's when the Formula One cars hit the gas pedal and take off. And we can see that play out here. So you can make a little bit of money on this stock, but you can make a whole lot more on a turbo trade.
So just so I'm clear, all right, here's Apple. It gets this nice little sell-off. And a lot of people are saying, hey, I should buy the dip. And your MTI here is saying, don't buy this dip yet. Then you start getting some yellows here. And these are saying, hey, you know what? This one is perking up. It might be time to get in. Then you go to your 4 greens here. And this is where you're starting to accumulate your position, starting to build. Then you get into here, and any capital you were planning on deploying is deployed, and then because it stays green for this period of time, you are literally long all the way through up until about right here. Did I just interpret that correctly?
That's it. That's it. Then it gives you an indication of where you need to be stopped out, right? That's one of the great ways of using a kind of almost like a stop. And of course, everybody knows the saying, buy low, sell high. Now, the MTI is about buying when there's stability, when you're buying a little bit higher, but that is what you need. How many people get into trouble catching a falling knife? That means you're buying a stock, it's plunging. My goodness, it just keeps falling out of bed. And now you're sitting on a position that is going to take a heck of a long time to dig your way out of. You want to buy higher and sell really high. That is how you succeed as a trader. I have seen that so many times. Traders, I managed a bunch of traders at one point. They get into trouble thinking they're right and the market is wrong. And I remember one guy, he had one day as a pro trader. One day. And he did something, I think it might have been Qualcomm back in like 2001. And he was buried. He did not come back the next day. You want to wait for the proper indicator to give you the go-ahead because it's telling you there's stability. It's telling you momentum is building. Don't bet against the market. If it's telling you it's going down, wait a moment. And that's what the MTI does. It really helps you with patience and it helps you with confidence.
So the MTI doesn't have you buy a stock at 30 on its way down to 20 before it starts to rally. The MTI gets you in when it's recrossing $25 so that you can capture that upside.
Exactly.
It keeps you out of that trying to buy the dip when it's not the time to buy the dip. Is that the best? Am I right there?
Sometimes the dip buyers are the dips, right? That's the problem. You catch a falling knife today, it's tomorrow. You catch another one the next day. Today's lows are tomorrow's highs, right? So I'm not saying that's always the case, but that is one of the great things that we can learn as traders is having something that can give us a little bit of patience. Doesn't even have to be the MTI. Just give something a chance to settle, and give you that confidence that you're getting on board. You're getting onto a horse that's heading in the right direction, at least. That's really one of the great things I've seen great traders make over the decades is they just are able to wait for the moment. What if you had an indicator that can help you with that and that has been devised with volatility in it, with a number of other metrics that really help you get in? So I think this is going to be something that's going to be extremely useful. This is what we use as our primary tool to get on board and no losing turbo trades this year. Simple as that. And it hasn't been an easy year, has it?
No. But it got you out of the way of April, which is what I really think is great because you have the ripcord strategy. Now, we do have a couple of quick questions that I think are really good. Snapper Baker says, I constantly battle the selling a winner too soon. I have several positions that are over 200% winners at present, and it takes all of my discipline to not close the trade.
It's one of the hardest things, right? And we never talk about that. When we put trades on, we think about stop losses. We think about, what if it goes against me? What if, we don't often spend enough time on, well, when am I going to sell this thing? Because darn well that once this thing starts going, guess what juices are starting to flow in you? The greed. You're just excited, and you often wait a little bit too long for, the moment has passed, and then you don't want to miss the high, and you wait and you wait and you wait and give them. So you need something that kind of takes emotion out of the equation. I don't care if you're experienced or not experienced at all. Those kinds of tools are always going to be helpful because we are emotional creatures, and we are always going to fight. Although I have to say, some of the great traders I've known are like robots, right? They look the same. They could be up 100 grand a day. They could be down 50 grand. They have the same look on their face. But for the rest of us mere mortals, having something that helps us is critical.
Absolutely. Couple other quick questions. Is there such a thing as a turbo put trade?
Yeah, hey, that's a great question. That is a great question. The turbo put trade, well, the turbo can give you that indication. So, for example, on the SPY, before April sell-off, it went red at 59.97. That's pretty close to the highs. And then we dropped about 100 points. So no question, you can use that to inform a bearish trade, a hedge trade, perhaps if you want to hedge positions. This is a very versatile tool, and I think we offered a deal last night where you actually get this, and you can apply it to anything that you're watching, not just my Palantir position. You are able to put this on your screen, and you can put in gold, you can put in any ticker, and it's going to help keep you in your lane, which is really great.
One other question that I thought was interesting is, Bruce is asking, like, what kind of strike prices these? Are you buying in the money calls? Are you buying out of the money calls? Are you buying at the money? How do you, what's your process for maybe picking the option?
Those are going to be, you can almost think of it as a bracket around the stock. You've got this one trade that is going to be lower than where the market is trading to fuel that upside trade. And by the way, and that tends to be out of the money, Bruce. So now it could be a different structure of upside depending on the pricing I'm seeing. Maybe there's something in the option pricing that makes me want to do a spread, something like that. So to the upside. But the nice thing about these trades is they also give you this cushion, right? So I actually like these trades for stocks that have actually had a good run, and you're worried that they've had a good run, but you want to give yourself a little bit of room to breathe. And that's what they do. What's one of the things with options? You pay for options. You have this erosion. You kind of feel like you've got to be right, and you've got to be right away. That is pressure. This is a trade, because of the finance, allows you to see it play out, right? It's exciting because when I use this, I zoom out and I can go, well, look, this is the bigger picture, and I'm going to let it unfold rather than feeling this pressure of, my goodness, if I'm not right 3 days from now, what am I going to do? So think of it as a kind of a bracket, Bruce.
Yeah. So let me talk to you about. We got some good. Tamara Coles wants to know, what do you think of SoundHound? Is that a good AI stock?
SoundHound, yeah. I mean, look, those have been popular areas for people to invest in, right? They're sort of those recurring revenue sort of names. Very, very popular. I think they've gotten a little frothy, to be honest. But I have to take a closer look at that.
Yeah. So we had a quick question. I want to talk about how you guys can join and get MTI for yourself. But one question we had was, what does Hans's performance look like? 92% win rate, 13% average win on income trades. He's had one loss, and it was 12%, and he used his ripcord, which is his method to get out of the way. His turbo trade win rate is 100% with an average return per turbo trade of 92%. There is a huge opportunity there. And so what I want to kind of explain to you guys is how powerful turbo trades have been. This is, Hans, and my favorite thing someone said. Thanks for sharing about IBIT. Was looking at my turbo income, realized profit and loss. It's already paid for the annual subscription and beyond, with mainly doing just the lowest size. Luigi responded, same here. I already paid for my 3-year sub.
Bless you, Luigi. Bless you.
We love you guys. So what is cool is, someone was asking, is there a monthly option to join Hans? There is. But I want to encourage you to do the annual, and I'm going to explain why. You get the MTI when you buy the annual. Hans is going to give you the script to either apply into TradingView or into Thinkorswim, so that you can put MTI over all of your stocks that you are interested in. So our friend had a question. One of our friends Bruce had a question about PANW with his strike prices. Now, I just said, how do you pick your strike prices? I took your question and made it a little more general. But Bruce, to the point, if you want to know what PNW looks like on MTI, if you have the annual, you can look any single stock. Currently not available on Tasty Trade. But it is available on TradingView, which is a free application. Dana Bell.
Yeah, and the strikes, Bruce, I mean, that gets into a little deeper conversation about depends on the stock, depends on the, how the math works out. So it isn't always going to be the same. It's going to be very different on a Tesla than it would be on a J&J. There's no way to kind of give you a one answer. But I can tell you that it tends to be that sort of out of the money on both sides that gives you that explosive potential to the upside, which I think a lot of those upside calls are actually kind of cheap right now. I think they're kind of cheap because everybody just feels like we're not, they bumped up a little, but some of the longer term ones, which we focus on, we tend to look at, 4 to 6 month expiries. You try to stay away from the noise, right? You don't want to get too involved in the noise. Mark, do you have that chart just to wrap it up? Do you have that longer term chart of this explosive ratio that we were talking about? And I really wanted to show folks that because these are some of the names that can they watch the replay and just sort of
yes, the replay is going to play immediately following us. Okay. And what I would say is 57 Wolves, after we showed your quote, just said, I will second that. You're actually thirding it, but I will third that. 57 Wolves says Hans is awesome.
Thank you very much. Well, so I was blushing last night. We had so many comments about the extra value that you get, the attention to detail that I give folks. That's what can I say? I love to show people. I love to teach. Now this ratio here is in the midst of a breakout. In fact, I think I saw it hit 29 today, and that's exactly the number. You guys want to? Can you write down 29 in the chat here? 29 is the number, right? You remember that scene in Fletch with Chevy Chase, and he's like being a total jerk like he always is, and they say, well, they take him to the police station, they say, what's your phone number? And he goes, 7. That makes me laugh every time. 7 is his number. That's his phone number. 29 is your number. And what happens after 29, Mark? Let's zoom out, because you have to have different time frames in mind when you trade. I find that a lot with students. They kind of go, I'm sort of spinning my wheels a bit. And I said, well, look at the bigger picture. Look at the red line on the far right is that other chart that we showed you. What happens when we get into 29, 30, 31, 32? That's a lot of air to the upside. That's a big freaking vacuum.
And this is what happened the last time it crossed that key indicator level. The ratio absolutely exploded. And right now, when we're looking at that breakout ratio with MTI, you've got a lot of green and you've got that breakout ratio crossing.
Very powerful, folks. So you can watch the replay, check out those stocks, jump on board because we're starting to do some of these immediately. We have a couple on. We're going to do more.
Your first set, you've got a session on Monday, and then you have a special session on Tuesday to walk people through all of those new members through using MTI, through talking about your breakout ratio. You're going to really help people jump in with both feet. And folks, with the annual, you get access to MTI for your own charts. You're also still getting the income trades, and this is CRT certified. You're getting weekly live trading sessions. Hans's first one is Monday, plus the bonus on Tuesday, and just so much more. Once again, that annual for MTI by itself, I think is worth. I know is worth, will make me $3,000 in a year, and we're giving you the entire Turbo Income suite for $17.99. And again, you just get the opportunity to work with somebody who's so patient and gracious and smart and effective at trading, and it'll be an opportunity. How do I get MTI if I don't use any of those platforms you mentioned? Well, Dana Bale, if you don't, TradingView is absolutely free. So if you don't want to use Thinkorswim, the reason why we put it on TradingView is because we wanted free access to everybody. Is there a 3-year option? That's a good question for my team. Give them a call, 888-872-3399. 3301. Turbo training at what time? So the first, the regular session is 1 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays. And I believe, Hans, you're going to go, your Tuesday turbo training is going to be at 2 p.m. Am I right there? Did we lose Hans? I think we lost Hans. It's going to be at 2 p.m. All right, folks. Obviously, we're running up against it. We have dropped the order form to join us, join Hans in Turbo Trades, and it is a really good opportunity for you to join. Why not 6 a.m.? I work during the day. Everything we do is recorded, Rise. So if you miss it, you can watch it later. You will not miss out. So the 6 a.m. Pacific. So folks, once again, click the link that's above me. Click the link that is above, that is tied. And if you have questions, things like, is there a 3-year? Do I have credits? Because I'm already an option pit trader. Give my team a call, 888-872-3301, and they will be glad to join you. Obviously, I want to thank Hans for his time. And hopefully you guys learned a bunch this morning. I used some real powerful concepts today. I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. We'll be back Monday with the Ticker Highlight Show with myself, Hans, Andrew, and Leisha. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Have a great weekend, and make sure you watch the video that's going to play right now, because you're going to learn even more about Hans's breakout ratio, MTI, and turbo trades. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.